I am introducing Brett Lane. Can we give him a round of applause? Brett S. Lane is a digital marketing expert with nearly 20 years of hands-on experience. He utilizes his corporate background to help businesses of all sizes better internet traffic and conversions by utilizing time-tested internet marketing methodologies. He has been married for 19 years, and has 2 children, a 13-year-old daughter and a 9-year-old son. His title of his talk is Increasing Your Capacity for Personal and Professional Resiliency. Can we please give him a round of applause?
Today I'd like to talk to you about resiliency and how you can utilize the things that get brought into your life, trauma, stress, threats, tragedy, to be able to be a more resilient human being. I truly believe that you don't know who you really are unless you go through stress. Unless you are put through the fire, you cannot get the purification that's needed to be the best human being that you can be. So I'd like to take you all on a journey. I'd like to go back in time to the year 2019. So the beginning of 2019 was a spectacular part of the year for me. I felt like I had so many wonderful things going on in my life. Health was going good, business was going good. I was exercising, doing a lot of really wonderful things. And then the water started filling that boat. So my wife came to me and said, hey, she said there was a spot on your neck. We need to get you checked out. So I decided to go to the dermatologist like I had done many years prior. I've had 4 sections of my back cut out over the last 10 years. So this was another day at the office. I went in, got it checked out. There's always a period where you don't really know what's going to happen in terms of if it's going to be cancer, if it's not going to be cancer. And you're always hoping and praying that it's not, but the waiting is the horrible part. It's that purification. My biggest concern was whether or not, if it was cancer, did it get into my lymphatic system? Because that system is what pushes fluid all throughout your body. And if something like cancer gets through into that system, your chances of living with that type of cancer in your neck are not that good. So I decided to go to a hospital, had some nuclear material injected into my neck and run through a scanner to check and see if things were going through my lymphatic system. The worst part about all this is the not knowing in between every step of the way. So it's the waiting game. You're constantly waiting to see, do you have cancer? Do you not have cancer? Did it travel where you're hoping and praying that it didn't go to? And all throughout this process, you have fear, you have anxiety, you have stress and worry just pushing you like a time pressure cooker. So after about a month of waiting, I was able to go into the hospital in San Diego, and I was able to have a very, very large 2 sections of my neck cut out. The size of this coin. What you can't see on this picture, but you'll be able to see on the next one, is where that skin had to be cut out. And when you're dealing with good professionals, they always want to take out that margin of error to make sure that they got the cancer, because they didn't really know how deep it was. So this whole time I know that I have a huge section of skin cut out of my neck. They put a drainage tube into my neck because it's going to be draining for the next 5 to 7 days. So for 7 days after the surgery, my wife had to squeeze my neck and pull out blood clots on a daily basis. The reason I share that story is I had to be put through that pressure cooker. I had to go to a point where I didn't know whether or not my life was going to end. I didn't know what the next steps would be in life. So I had to go through my own journey to figure out who I was. And just like this coin, which is stamped, I believe I was stamped by God to still be here on this planet. Did you know that you have the ability to create new things in your brain Neuroplasticity basically states that you can create new neural pathways in your brain by going through different situations, by learning new things, by putting yourself in different situations where you have more stress on your body. You start to see chemical changes when you take on things like learning a new language where you're using different areas of your brain. That leads to short-term memory. You see structural changes which lead to new neuron type activity. You see new functions where brain networks will start to go and create new networks within the brain when you're using different types of functionality. To see the kind of change that you want to see in your life, you can either have a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. A fixed mindset would tell you that you have no other options. You're stuck with whatever set of circumstances you have in your life. A growth mindset is one where you actually take charge of your future and you bring new things into your life, new experiences, new types of learning so that you can ensure that you become a different person. A lot of people do know about the placebo effect, being able to take different kinds of like sugar pills and things and being told one thing, and how that sometimes can lead to the outcome that you want to have take place. The nocebo effect is very similar in that you are still taking something, but you're not taking something into your body. You're taking something into your mind that you're telling. Somebody's saying, hey, if you do these different things, this is going to be the outcome. As long as you do that and you have the emotional response behind that, you'll be able to have the desired effect. Now, there were studies done at Princeton and Harvard to showcase these different types of effects. Some tactics that you can utilize to be able to ensure that you are creating new neural plasticity with your brain so that you can become more of a resilient person is things like looking at your health, being healthy overall, making sure that you're not smoking. If you are drinking, you're doing it at a lower level, not taking drugs, exercising rigorously. For me, exercise is a huge component to my life. Without it, I think I would be in much worse shape. I deal with a tremendous amount of stress. I run 3 different businesses, and without it, I know I would be in a much worse place health-wise. There's a thing called the 90-second rule where when you are in the midst of stress, if you give yourself 90 seconds to just sit and think and contemplate what's going on in your life, not from a negative standpoint, but from a positive one, those 90 seconds are like a refresh where you're able to reset your mind and not go down this negative spiral of emotions. And then also eating really good foods and taking good supplements, eating lots of things that can give you healthy oils and vegetables and fruits and such. Those are all going to help increase the neuroplasticity in your brain. And one of the things that I've been doing for the last year is taking a very strong curcumin product that is able to reduce inflammation throughout my entire body. So I'm going to give you guys a couple different things that you can do that will help you get through moments when you need clarity and you're dealing with stress. One thing is state the facts to yourself. What am I going through? Why am I dealing with this? But looking at it very objectively. Not having emotions, but looking at it from an objective perspective. Placing blame where it needs to go. If you did something wrong, own it. If you didn't do something wrong, own that. And own the fact that the only thing you can control is your response to that set of circumstances. Reframing in your mind, looking at the situation and putting it in a positive light. It's very easy to reframe any kind of situation, and people all throughout history have done that so that they can see that glass as being half full versus half empty. Giving yourself time. This is a huge one. A lot of people don't give themselves time to think, to reflect, to look deep into their soul before taking action with any given situation in their life. I mentioned earlier, exercise should be a vital part of every single thing that you do. If your body is not constantly in motion, just like in business with money, if it's not constantly in motion, it's stagnant. And if it's stagnant, that leads to death. So you have to make time for solitude, one-on-one. I spend time with God every single day in meditation and prayer. Whatever you want to do, I would suggest doing it. But make sure that when you first get up, you give yourself that first 30 minutes of your day to reflect, to have gratitude for the things that you have in your life. Engaging in positive self-talk. One of the things that I really like to do is I'll do affirmation work where I will hear myself. I record myself saying the kinds of things that I'm thankful for, the things that I'm going to achieve in life. And I put it on replay and I listen to it for hours at a time. When I'm working, when I'm in my backyard by the pool working, I'm listening to myself say, you are a success. You are going to crush that goal. You're going to achieve that objective. And I do it relentlessly because I need to be able to hear myself doing it. I need to be able to reprogram my mindset because all of us have that computer, which is the body, working and doing all kinds of things. But we have software behind the scenes that literally control up to 80% of what we do. And you all know, if you have a driver's license, that there have been instances where you've driven from point A to point B, and you say, how did I get there? I just went through the motions. We do that every single day in our lives. Get out, experience life, whether it be with family, with friends, take vacations, pull away from the situations. Give yourself time to heal, to think about what you need to do. I did a lot of this when I was in San Diego dealing with my battle with cancer. I spent a significant amount of time trying to figure out what are the next steps in life. What is life going to be like if I'm gone from my family, from my children, leaving that legacy behind for them. Learning from failure, in my opinion, is the best thing that you can do in terms of becoming more of a resilient human being. We all have failures. In business, more businesses fail than do succeed, as you all know. And if you can't look at the failures in your life and say, hey, what did I learn that was good from that situation? And I mentioned earlier that I have 2 children, now a 14-year-old daughter and a 9-year-old son. And I tell my children every single day, if you are not learning and failing, you're not growing.
That's right.
You have to learn from your failures. And if you spend time doing anything in life and you fail, or if you're not failing, then you're not winning in life, in business, and personal. You have to be able to look at the humor. When I got out of the hospital, I'm going to tell a funny side note. I go through surgery, I'm laying down, I got my neck all swelled up, and it's bleeding and draining. And when I wake up from surgery, I asked the doctor how the enlargement procedure worked. First words out of my mouth, and then I started smiling, and the doctor's like, what the heck is this kid talking about? I'm like, did you operate on the right part? Did you mark? And he's like, holy crap. So you got to be able to use humor, and my family is huge on being able to pull that out of any situation. If you can do that, you can then laugh about something. And I also have a degree in psychology, and one of the things I learned in college was being able to talk through certain situations. If you can talk through it, in my opinion, and you can do it in a way that doesn't evoke emotional response from yourself, then you're really through the situation. If you cannot do that, then there's work to be done. And then having realistic expectations for yourself. You know, we all want to achieve lots of things in life, and we want to be the best that we can be in whatever we do. But we have to set expectations that are realistic in terms of what you're going to achieve, how you're going to achieve it, when you're going to achieve it. And then also giving yourself the ability to have people around you who can pour into you, and being able to take your ego and pull it to the side, because every single thing that we do as human beings, in my opinion, is driven by our egos. If we can pull our ego out of whatever situation we're dealing with, then we really can see who we truly are, and we can give so much more to humanity. Zig Ziglar was mentioned earlier by another presenter. I love this statement about adversity. I believe that you have to face it to become successful at whatever you do. I mentioned this coin earlier. To get this coin, the stamp on this coin had started out as a raw piece of metal. It was heated. All of the impurities were pushed out of it. It was hammered. It was stamped. And I believe every single one of us in this room has the opportunity to be stamped by whatever that force is in your life, if it's God, if it's the universe, whatever it is, you have to enable yourself to be stamped by something. You have to be able to have the resiliency in your life to know that you can get through whatever it is. You may not have to go through something like cancer to be able to see what's on the other end. You might have gone through a death of a family member, or it might be a death of your career. Do not let what you do define who you are. That's the seed that I want to plant. That's one of the seeds. The other seed is give yourself the opportunity to be the most resilient human being that you can by learning new things, by taking greater risks, by taking chances, giving yourself the opportunity to fail. I believe that when we hit the 30s, the 40s, and I'm close to getting to 50, I truly believe that as human beings, we do tend to get a little stagnant because we don't want to look dumb or stupid. We don't want to have the opportunity to potentially fail. We forget that as children, we fail all the time. And that's what made us stronger. That's what made us grow. So give yourself the opportunity to fail. If you hear one thing from me today, that is that message. Give yourself the opportunity to fail at whatever age you're at and be refined, truly be refined by stressors, and learn to adapt to that stress so you can be the best human being that you can be. Thank you all very much for your time today.